welcome back to Wild Speculation. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week, we talk about Critical Role Campaign 2, Episode 114, An Open Window. Good episode.
Very good episode.
And,
oh crap moments.
Yeah. As well as some stuff that, I don't know, I would like to think we could say we called it, but it's still technically still too early for that kind of thing.
Yep.
And right off the bat, one of the things that sort of set the tone for the episode, and I don't know if Matt intended it to, but I'm blanking on his name. The guy that heads the town, he says, if you need anything, don't ask me.
Yeah.
It's sort of that's the tone and attitude of this episode on all sides.
Pretty much.
One of the things that got lost in the shuffle that I don't know if we will see make a comeback or matter at all. But one of the things that Vess was there to do was inspect somebody's lab.
Yeah.
I don't remember Matt describing a building that you would think is a lab. So I don't know if it's normally the third floor of that tower, but it didn't sound like it.
Right.
It sounded just like a chamber. Which means maybe it's underground. So I'm interested to see
Or some
an extra dimensional space.
fixed point extra dimensional space.
Yeah, that's true. Another thing that came up that I expect to see it could maybe not go anywhere, but I expect it will.
Okay.
The storm giants that are pissed off and blocking shipping. Is that because of the Uk'otoa business?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's Ford's fault.
Yeah. Which made Travis's reaction all the more beautiful. Because he's like, they're like, wreck your day bad. So it will be fun if they
encounter those.
Yeah.
Especially if, I know he's Wild Mother attuned now, but he still has some things hinting to his Uk'otoan past. Like his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically
the cloven crystal in his bag.
Well, that I know it's just Pact of the Blade, but the imagery that he gives summoning his new Wild Mother attuned sword is the same overall imagery when he pulls out the Sword of Fathoms.
Yeah.
So that could relate it, especially if they ran into Avantika, because we know she had a Sword of Fathoms at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, the thing is, if they're angry at the Empire for Uk'otoa shit, that means they have a seer or somebody who casts legend lore or any number of divination spells to see who is opening these locks.
Yeah.
It's a guy named Fordstone. He's currently in the Empire.
Or just the fact that fucking Ford was there at both of them.
Uh-huh.
Oh, let me watch this. Oh, it's these two assholes again. Oh, it's...
Yeah.
Oh, you're that...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's got to be, like, in my mind, it has to be that.
Yeah.
And Ford has to be the one to fix it.
Yeah. I think I think the Storm Giants are going to be the threshold of the final arc of that. Because the way he's going to fix that is by either ensuring that Ukatoa is not unlocked or him getting unlocked and defeating him.
So the Storm Giants have a way to
that'll bring that'll bring the peace to the Storm Giants, and that'll bring the closure to the Ukatoa arc.
It's fair.
And when they messaged Vandrin, when he said he's on an island doing goods, he didn't say it was a tropical island. He didn't say it was a tropical island. He could be on a ice-covered island with the talking to the underwater storm giants, trying to make it right.
Yeah,
this could be where they see Vandrin.
Yeah,
he never said it was a tropical island. We all just assumed that because they were in the tropics.
Yeah.
So
well, and Hulu City and Ocean was what we were thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could very well be the frigid depths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the Storm Giants arc is definitely going somewhere, and it's the closure of Ford's Ukatoa chapter.
Okay. So, what do you think the over-under is on Dagon surviving? Because I don't think he's going to survive his encounter with the Mighty Nine. They now have too many reasons to want him dead.
I don't know.
I'm not saying they're going to kill him.
Right. Right. No.
But
I mean,
arguably,
they're as responsible indirectly for more deaths than they are directly. That's just kind of their shtick.
Including Lady Bess.
Yes. I see Dagon kind of as a Jamedi Casca type. I don't think he's important enough in anything to live or die. So I give him 50-50 odds. I think he's there for flavor, and he's not really crucial to undermining or helping succeed on anything in particular, and that's the vibe I get off of it.
The argument against that is connected to my next bit in my notes.
Okay.
Which is Caduceus being the meat market. And the Goliath woman saying how she used to be the head hunter. She also tells that Dagon brings in beasts.
Yeah.
That he claims he takes out on his own. So I think there's more to him.
How similar would Mastodon meat be to Firbolg meat?
Not very.
Okay. Or wolf, or I mean, is he one of those guys?
Well, the reason I say he's the meat market is because she was.
Well, no. Yeah, I got that. No. It just clicked in my head, like, it's a dangerous place, and you got to go on foot because animals can't survive. Is he mixing lost people who hired him back into meat packaging?
Oh, shape changing them and then not impossible.
I think that's probably out there, probably not, but just a thought that popped in my head.
Yeah, no, I think he's going to be connected tangentially either with the family that the Mighty Nine helped Rini out, or and either he worked for them or he is a victim of theirs. or he's connected to
or a member of theirs that was there as their liaison to that area.
Yeah. Because he wasn't a fan of Uthodurn.
Right.
And he's in the area where all these arcane shenanigans are going down.
Mm-hmm.
All the artifacts and stuff.
Yeah.
We didn't get the Mighty Nine asking about the Tomb Takers, or even after Matt said openly that some of these guys look like they could be from Shady Creek Run.
Yeah.
And maybe are buying off their prison sentence.
Yeah.
We didn't get anyone asking about Tomb Takers. Which is how I think Molly was able to get in to begin with.
Yeah.
We also have now somebody cut together all the, well, not all, but many instances of the clues, practical confirmations that Caduceus is asexual, with the final coming out, as it were, in this episode.
I don't get time for that. 40 hours, you can do it 40 times.
Yeah. And I thought it was really nice to do. And he has been dropping hints about it basically since he met them.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Jester building the snowman.
Mm-hmm.
And convincing a guard that she does not see again, even though she looks for him.
I would argue she does, but not. We'll get to that in a minute.
Fair. Fair.
For my crazy string pot that we'll get into, she does.
Yeah. And Caleb and Bo have another, I don't know, sibling fight? Is that what you would...
So, in retrospect from the whole episode, they out themselves as the people to watch and the people to suspect in this.
Yeah.
Matt even says everyone turns and looks, realizing there's more to these fuck-ups than...
Yeah.
But yeah, basically a sibling fight. Good-natured sibling fight.
Matt very kindly doesn't have Caleb roll damage.
Yes.
Because telekinesis is not a light hit when you use it to throw people around.
True. Though he did specify, I mean, it would still be something. He does specify that, he's...
Yeah. My favorite Travis comment of the night was when he has the realization, I think cooking is worse than shopping. And all I could think of was, I guess he didn't read Game of Thrones then. And it's really kind of sad too, because in a lot of ways, and it's why Martin does it, like describing what's on the table before you really does set the mood.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my favorite moments have been the players in this alien environment. The thing that I'm thinking of is they have found a Smurfeblin warren that's sort of hiding out near their village. and they are concerned that they are stopping the water from flowing. And so they don't go in and slaughter everything, which I kind of expected them to potentially do, but they don't. And instead they talk with them and have dinner. And I narrate the dish that they are being served is a stew, the star of which is a mushroom that pops in their mouth like boba. And that got a fun visceral reaction. And some people are like, yeah, I'm not eating that. But it's yeah.
Yeah.
Veth is out to I don't know, justify the sentence that she has passed on Vess when she starts talking about how we'll offer to pay, but she's going to pay.
Yeah.
And then they offer, and Vess says, oh, well, I've never had anyone who worked for me do that. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think Matt put that response together when Sam was going off on the whole plan. You can kind of see it in his eyes. He's like, oh, okay, we're going to do it this way, huh?
Yeah.
Which I love, and that's the kind of thing I do all the time, and I think most DMs do.
Yeah.
Players often give you, and you're like, oh, that works really well for what I want to do, or it works better than what I had.
Yeah.
So.
Because I think he was trying to think of a way to hint that it might not be Vess. And arguably, that was the moment. Because, like they say retroactively, when they're thinking back on it, she should have known that the assembly was covering everything.
Yeah.
And she took a bottle of wine after they said they were going to pay. And that's something Molly has done.
Yeah.
Also, one of the things that Matt sort of threw in, and I didn't think about it until my rewatch, until I was taking my notes for this episode. But something Matt says as Molly to Jester's scrying eye. All that knowledge, so little understanding. Taliesin said that. I just can't remember if it was as Caduceus or Molly.
Yeah. That really seems more like a Molly statement than a Caduceus statement.
Yeah, but then Caduceus also said the thing to Trent, and that sort of parallels it a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm calling my memory into question. But Taliesin definitely said it. So I like that.
Yeah. No, I believe Molly said it, and I wanted.
He was even talking about the server. Like, if my memory is correct, it was when they first were in Zadash, and they were talking about the Cerberus assembly.
Yeah.
I think.
That sounds right. I'm like 75-80% sure that it is a Molly moment.
Yeah.
Molly gone.
Yes. Well, one thing we did sort of get that we sort of called last week when Dagon was filling them in on the monsters that they were going to be seeing.
Yep.
Matt mentioned frost gnolls and ice salamanders.
Yep.
Which is out of Rime and the Frost Maiden, right? So I was like, although I was wrong about the giant elk, and I'm kind of sad about that.
Yeah,
Although I would have been happy to be wrong if they were writing mammoths.
Yeah.
Because I didn't even think about mammoths.
Yeah.
Oh, and his Dagon's advice to Bo when she had, what do you wish people would have told you your first time? And he basically says, don't loot the bodies.
Yeah.
Like, whatever we come across, leave it alone.
And that actually goes back to one of my theories when we were talking about when that actually was a theory I linked back to Campaign 1 in the Briarwoods and the creeping death. And, you know, don't, because you catch this creeping death and there's only the one antidote.
Yeah.
Magic doesn't heal it.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
So.
And then the other thing that we got was Old Demerag, which sounds like Winter Wolf ++.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything like that in Rime of the Frost Maiden?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I haven't done an in-depth read of it. I did get it. I wanted to check out the environmental rules and stuff, which are pretty interesting. And I glanced through the bestiary part. So.
I think like I was trying to think of how you would up this a CR. I think Winter Wolf CR5, I think. Up to a CR 17.
Yeah.
If it's gonna
hack.
If it's gonna solo, if it's supposed to be a solo encounter. If it's not supposed to be a solo encounter, probably CR 10 to 14. And I think first the breath weapon becomes a 60-foot cone.
Okay.
Instead of 30. Probably double the damage on it, so that it gets in the neighborhood of a white dragon.
Okay.
Of course, a whole stack of hit points. If Matt has been following Matt Colville's action-oriented design, which Colville has now apparently finished the mechanics for Kingdoms of Warfare. And from what I understand, he was going to put more of that into that book. So I imagine there's some crosstalk. So I think Old Demerag may be a monster designed with Colville's action-oriented design.
Okay.
So round 1, the monster does this. Round 2, the monster does this. Round 3, the monster does this. And that design choice is supposed to be the narrative arc of the fight. So, yeah. And calling more Winter Wolves would be up there. Or Dire Wolves. So, I'm interested to see if they actually run into Old Demerag. One of the things that I was sort of, I don't know, I felt pretty good about was when Marisha asks Matt, can I make an investigation check to see if I'm missing something? And she rolls and gets a 26.
Yeah.
A not insignificant number.
No.
And all Matt gives her is, you think you might be on to the right.
Yeah.
doesn't give her the hint that perhaps the book that he has captured, he got from Vess tonight.
Yeah.
And I was like, so see, Matt can just say it happens. Because we were talking about how last week.
With the Vontica's escape.
Yeah. So I was like.
Although, so not that I'm a fan of this argument in general, because I believe it should be static number, and if you're high enough that you need a low number to get that number, great. It's easier for you. Unlike,
scaling difficulty.
To where the same thing is more difficult because you're a higher level.
Yeah.
But she does currently, if I remember correctly, have a plus 14 to investigation. I believe it's her expertise, which is 5 and 5, and she's got the headband of intellect, which gives her a
19
plus 4.
Plus 4.
She's got a plus 14 to investigation. So she really only had to roll a 12 to get that.
Yeah.
Still a significant number, and I still, think that's the important part. But that's almost a common number for her.
Fair. And she's observant, so she actually has a passive investigation.
Right.
Which would be 29.
Yeah.
So.
Which, 30 is the impossible according to the book, so near impossible, so.
Yeah. Caleb summons the tower.
Yep.
And Travis wants to fast forward to the next day, but Liam, he made this tower so that they could have RP moments, goddammit, and he's gonna have one. That's how I interpreted that. And I was like, damn straight, Liam.
Yep.
You did this for a reason.
If I'm gonna waste the spell spot to camp, we're gonna have interactions while camping.
Exactly.
Especially at that high a level.
Exactly. And Caleb confronts Veth. Okay. Don't call me a leader.
Yep.
I'm not.
And that's been building since episode 1. Almost.
Yeah. And we've talked about how
he doesn't like it, and he is acted like, he's always, even if it's just facial body reaction, Liam at the table, it upsets him every time she does it.
Because he is afraid of the temptation of power.
Mm-hmm.
And that dinner did not assuage his discomfort.
Well, I think the other part of it is, like we've said, evil Caleb is rearing his head quite often. And I think Caleb is aware of this. And I think there's probably a fear inside him that he's becoming too comfortable with it. And so he's like, knock that shit off. Yeah, I'm doing everything I can not to become that guy that I'm becoming.
And Veth, as Veth does, doubles down. And backhandedly says, you've led me to that conclusion. She is not giving up on Caleb being the leader.
Nope.
And I love it because that means that when we get the Black Robe's turn, it will be Veth's fault.
She is the boo-boo to his Raceland. The fucking gully dwarf that shows him the book of Fist and Daedalus.
Yeah. She's the one in the party who says, yeah, you're the leader. You should be a leader. She's the one, arguably even more so than Beauregard, who's more on board with taking out the assembly members.
Mm-hmm.
And that only serves to elevate Caleb. Now, I think Caleb has made the decision he is going to let Astrid win.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to do what he can to promote her.
Of course, another seat in the assembly, Archmagery just opened up. But, I mean...
Yeah. Provided they don't raise her from the dead.
Provided, yes. And if you want to get down to it, Veth is as responsible for evil Caleb as she is for evil Ford. Because I've argued this entire time that he wants the leadership. He downplays it with the modesty angle. No, I want, I want to lead from the back. But he wants to be the leader. And her completely always undermining him in favor of Caleb is sending both of them further down their evil tendencies, which they both have.
Yeah.
They are both full-fledged evil characters. It's just Caleb admits that he has that in him. Ford refuses to.
Yeah.
And Beth is, with the same actions, egging both of them towards that.
Yeah. The other major moment of the tower,
yes,
is Caleb offers to read Jester his books, or the particular Cats and Prince, or Cats and Prince. Yeah,
the one we talked about.
Yeah.
Can't wait for bedtime with Caleb.
I am resisting with all my might not calling that a Widow Jest moment in this episode.
I think it most specifically was, and I think it influences something that happens later.
Do you think? Okay.
I think it influence. I think that is part of the reason, if not the main reason. It is. See, I agree, Toppinator. It is. That is the. It is a strong reason, if not the main reason.
Why those 5 books were there in the first place?
No.
Oh, okay.
Why when Ford is pretending to be Vess, I open the door and I get Jester to come out here with me. Oh shit, Caleb's making time. I need to make my move. I need to keep that in my court. Ford doesn't want a relationship. He's that, but he wants the potential, the idea of being able to have that relationship.
See,
he got alone time with her. I'm going to get alone time with her. It may not have been the main one, but it was definitely something in the back of his mind. I need to spend more time with Jester. Caleb's doing
it. And see, I saw it as that's why he chose those books.
Oh, that could entirely be too.
Like, to me, it was like a plan comes together.
Yes. I'm not arguing that at all. I'm saying that influenced Ford's decision later to pull Jester out of the room so that she and him were alone. When he went outside the room, they're all searching the body and stuff.
Oh no, that was because she's the trickster cleric.
No, if you want a liar, you get Bo or Caleb or Beth. Jester is the one that's going to put her foot in her mouth and do a good job lying, but put her foot in her mouth and make things worse. If you want someone to pull a convincing lie, you pull probably Caleb.
Yeah, well, here's the other side of the coin, and maybe it is how Ford is negging Jester, is he doesn't view her investigative skills as necessary in that room.
Mm.
If what you're saying is truly his motivation to get alone time with Jester,
mm-hmm.
then that has to be the tack he's taking. You are counterproductive to investigations. Come with me.
No. It could be feeding her ego. Yeah, you're the best deceiver. even though while you've done some amazing deceptions, you've also either nearly or screwed up just as many.
I
you
mean,
know,
she tricked a hag.
and I give her that, but she almost royally screwed the pooch in that. She either almost royally screws up or does royally screw up and manage to get out with the skin of her teeth all the time. The
Which
temple
is right down Ford's alley.
You know, that if you're wanting to, you know, if you want the successful lie, you don't pull Jester. If you want the adventure, daring escape, narrowly make it, or fail and get away, then you pull Jester. If you want it to blow out and do an encounter, you call Jester.
Well, maybe that was his lawful good side trying to sabotage their covering up of a murder.
He has the lawful good side.
I have to advocate for him.
Other than Travis saying in his
He's lawful
talks
good.
he's lawful good, what evidence do you have that he is lawful good?
Before we get too deep into the...
Yes, the Platinum Dragon Church defacing. That's what I was alluding to there. Exactly.
Before we go too far down the hole of covering up Vess's death, we do and talking about ships, we have to touch on the Yasha and Bo interaction, which was done in full view of everyone.
Yep.
Because it was in the common room. Bo just sort of sat next to her.
Mm-hmm.
So in my headcanon, everybody saw that.
Yeah.
They may not have heard, because you can make the argument they were speaking quietly. But they definitely saw that interaction.
Yeah. And they would have had to have been speaking pretty quietly, because that's been a pretty big inter-party plot point. Oh, shit. What are they saying?
Right.
At least Sam. At the very least Sam. And then everybody else's observation, passive perceptions are high enough that...
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Sam. Jester because it's a romance thing and that's her kick. And the other three have fucking absurd passive perception.
Yeah.
So yeah, every single person is aware of what happened there, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah. Bo checks in with her.
No Tuffinator. Keg wrote her a letter. It wasn't really a poem.
Oh yeah, that was just a goodbye.
That was a
letter.
Very awkwardly worded, Dear John.
Well,
not even that, but
no, it was, if you're ever in the area again, look me up.
Yeah.
We'll tussle again. But Bo checks in with Yasha in a way that no one else has. Specifically asking her about the mental control and telling her, I saw how uncomfortable you were.
Yeah.
At the dinner. I never thought about that. And connecting with her on a thing which allowed Yasha to come out and talk to her about the church and almost killing her.
Yeah.
And then Bo says, I knew it wasn't you. Which now absolves her. Which is why I think she gave her the poem.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how else that was going to come up.
Yeah.
And I think Ashley was probably, that one of the things that they needed to get out in the open between them is that church.
Yeah, definitely.
And she was sort of absolved by Jester over it. She's talked to Jester about it.
Yeah, but in the scope of things, I think that Bo and Caleb are probably the two she most cares about being absolved by. Bo because of the Yabo thing, and Caleb because she knows what Caleb went through with Trent.
Yeah,
and if he's willing to understand, and she knows how he feels about himself about that.
Yeah.
Then no, it was me, and if he's willing to understand, so I think those are probably the two most important absolutions to her.
Yeah.
Not that the others aren't important, but those are the two that are going to carry the most weight.
Yeah. Well, I think the conversations you had with Caleb about him, you have blood in your eye, same as me.
Yeah.
All we can do is try to be better.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah, for sure. So, now we get into the meat of this.
And oh my goodness. Here we go, guys. Put on your tinfoil hats, because there's some shit about to come down.
Yeah.
First off, I just want to say, back when we first met Cree, when we first met the gentleman, when Molly was still alive, when Caduceus wasn't even a sparkle in Talison's eye, Matt said the Nonagon, that it was a title.
Yeah.
And, it was pretty much slammed down by everybody.
Yeah.
It was a name, not a title. And it's a title.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it was. I'm calling that, I called it from the very beginning. I pointed it out. It was a title from the very beginning.
Yep.
Small victory, but the fact that I had pretty much given up on it because it was mentioned so little.
Yeah.
There was so little evidence. It was vindication for me. I was like, I knew it. I was so happy when that moment happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a couple of things. They scry on Molly. Now, every time Jester is scried, there's this description of it kind of going up
through the clouds,
traveling
a distance.
Here we just, you go up about,
He tosses you into the ether. Up, he says.
Yeah. And there was a lot of people talking about it being the fact that he lost a bunch of followers at Traveler Con, and so he's not as powerful. But no, because Molly was literally a floor above them.
Well, 2 floors.
2 floors above them.
Yes. Yeah.
They were literally within longbow range of each other.
Yeah.
And he sees her, which I don't know how to explain that ability. Detect, and auto detect scry.
Well, now that Molly's a monster,
yeah,
stat block.
Definitely.
He could have true sight.
Yeah.
Or just see invisibility.
Yeah.
Or it's an invocation.
However, back to the argument that she did see that guard again. That guard was Molly. And this could be as simple as he has a ring of alter self just like Dyron has.
Yeah.
Or monster stat block. He can...
Or disguise self at will.
Yeah.
Because she never touched him.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think that the guard that Ford questions that has the very similar to Molly accent, well, the final Molly accent, was also Molly. All right, that's not my name. And I think Matt has always been, and this may be relying on past predictions, but he has always been very specific with accents.
Yes.
Like,
to the point that he takes notes for his NPCs.
To the fact that that's how I placed antagonist, the Traveler, because of Garmelli.
Yeah.
Because it's exactly the same accent.
Yeah.
So I believe that was Molly speaking in his actual voice.
And I missed that one.
So that's my argument for her having seen that guard again, even though she looked for him and didn't see him.
Yeah.
Either he was Vess, like you were saying, which is 100% possible, and or he was that guard. That other guard. The only issue I have with him being Vess is that it's a little high-profile person to be impersonating when you just killed them.
Except by doing that, so if Molly kills her and then goes to dinner as her, he does two things. One, he keeps people from searching the room. Two, he gets to interact with these people that are spying on him.
Yeah.
And maybe he has a little bit of a memory. So he needs to see what they're doing.
Yeah. And that's valid. I can 100% accept that and back that. It just didn't occur to me during my watches.
And then after dinner, he searches the room.
Yeah. And yes, Toffinator, he is doing what the Traveler did at TravelerCon, just pretending to be other people in the crowd, seeing what everyone's up to. Yeah, so...
which is totally what he would do. And Molly has said before that he impersonated royalty.
Yes, exactly. The one thing that made me kick myself in the ass, how did we not see this? We're a whole show based on conspiracy theories. Vess has the 9 eyes. Just like Molly Mock Tea Leaf was empty, Vess is short for vessel.
Yeah.
And my theory that she is probably a level 17 wizard, if we're going 20 because they're archmages. Level 17 wizard, level 3 warlock, because that gives her the Mask of Many Faces, which lets you cast Illusory Disguise
at will
to cover up all those eyes that they couldn't see. And it explains the unfamiliar.
Yeah. Which we talked about.
Yeah.
When I said, does that make her a warlock, or does this everybody in the assembly has one?
Right. Because she could be just a wizard for the Illusory Disguise, because at 18th level, you get the signature spells where you get a first and second level spell that you can cast at will like they're cantrips. But with the combination of the Infamiliar that we already talked about, I'm convinced she's at least a 3rd level Pact of the Chain Warlock. Because technically, unless you, DM Fiat, but unless you have DM's permission to get an Infamiliar,
the only way to do it is
the only way to do it through the pure raw rules as written is Pact of Chain.
Yeah.
Without a role play situation or the DM just hand waving it for you.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the insight that Vess is short for vessel is good. I'm wondering where then, if that is the case, where then Dorogna comes from. Is my question.
I don't know,
but
I would have to do some more etymology. I didn't have time to totally do some etymology research on the name Dorogna. There could be something there, or it could be she just took a name.
Yeah,
she was just Vess for so long, and then she had to,
And Dorogna sounds imperial.
Yeah. So it could have been as simple as that. There could be more meaning to it, but I'll do some research, and if I find anything, I'll let you guys know next week.
They cover up the crime scene, and Toffinator, yes, there could be other Nonagon candidates, and like to me, it sounds an awful lot like Ford and Avantika, because Ford tried to kill Avantika before she opened up the thing as well. So Sam was joking about them being Highlanders, but he may not have been wrong.
Yeah.
That only one can be the Nonagon, but there are many candidates.
Or it could be, well, okay, just popped into my head. What if? So we've got Lucian, who was turned into a Nonagon by Beth. That made him become Molly. So what if this isn't Molly or Lucian, but a Gestalt? And he's going out of his way. So it failed. She lost the Nonagon because he went away. She became one herself because she's trying to do this key thing. And being pissed that Bess did this to him, basically robbed him of 2 years of his life. Or,
No, I read his actions as being a true believer.
Okay. Not trying to stop. Okay.
He wants to get to the city.
So getting to the city and awakening are not necessarily mutually inclusive.
Okay, I'll give you that.
She could have stopped him from getting to the city by making him this.
Well, no, the point was to get him to the city.
No, the point is to awaken something.
Which you have to go to that city to awaken.
Okay.
Which I'm with everyone at the table. That city's name is Cognosa.
Yeah.
I think that is...
Duffinator, 9 candidates for the 9 eyes. That's completely possible.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just because, especially in an evil cult, that number of people collaborating doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
And if I'm right, and that city serves the Chained Oblivion, 1 is what he wants. But the other bit of exposition we got from Vessa's body is to free the Somnovan. And I asked you, I don't think Sam's translation is correct.
Right.
My reading of it is sleeping child.
Yeah, and that sounded more right to me. And like I told you, I did take a bit of Latin in college, but more than 15 years ago since I, had to use that. And I thought it was right. And I looked, and I was looking online a bit, and the way you can split it to be sleeping egg, which is what you were kind of thinking, and triggered me to tie in the whole moons subplot and the archivist searching the moons, and Isrius, the egg, housing the Tarrasque.
Housing the thing that the Chained Oblivion wants to unleash. To punish and cleanse the world. Yes. Yeah.
And is this a method to hatch the egg? Or really, this parallels the whole Uk'otoa Deseret, because these are all things that the Betrayer gods created. The Chained Oblivion and a creation of the, or harnessed by, so it's kind of in the realm there.
And they have been referred to as the children of those betrayer gods.
Yes.
Which is one of the reasons why I went for sleeping child for my translation, because that aligns more with what other things we've seen.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I think you're right about Ruidus being part of this, because when Ford got his vision from Uk'otoa about the locations of the locks, he was a meteor falling from the sky.
Yep.
And Matt has, on multiple occasions, in Campaign 2, but also the one-shot, that meteors are seen as being from Ruidus.
Yep.
And in the one-shot, we see that bad things come. Something of the Astral Sea, adjacent, the, illithid, tentacly thing. So
the Morkoth.
Yep. Yeah.
Yep. So I think that Ruidus is where the Tarrasque is. I think it's trying to unlock it. And I think I almost want to say that 9 eyes is the number of eyes almost an indication of power. Because you have these lesser ones that are 3 eyes each.
Three by 3. All three of those 3 eyes are 9 eyes. Which would mean that my theory about Uk'otoa basically being a prelude to the Tarrasque.
Exactly what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would seem to be more likely. So we'll see. So if you are correct that the storm giants are a way to relock Uk'otoa, what does that mean for the end game for the Tarrasque? Or does that mean Crisis Averted campaign ends?
Possibly the 3 children of the Betrayer gods released for Ruidus to open. Although I think it's more symbology in that the Chained Oblivion is, locked away more tightly.
Yeah. Well, see, and I think it's more like, I would put it more akin to, like, for Jesus to come, you had to have Ezekiel, and then John the Baptist, and then Jesus comes.
Yeah.
Is sort of the way that I was looking at it.
I don't think locking... I mean, it could very well be that locking away Uk'otoa is campaign ends. Matt has said that it may not.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like the uber high levels anyway. He prefers to end between 15 and 17.
Yeah.
So it very well could be, get that done, Crisis Averted. Don't get that done. They all wake up. You've got the 3 of them and the Tarrasque to deal with. Not only is the campaign over, but thanks, guys, I got to build a new world.
Or Exandria 2.0.
Yeah.
Or 3.0.
Yeah.
Depending on how you want to look at it.
Yeah. Set 100 years in the future, and this is what's happened.
Or maybe this is the way, like, fighting these beasts is how Matt turns up the magic level on Exandria. And next campaign, it's closer to
Eberron.
Yeah.
Could be. But yeah.
Calamities are like ice ages, yes. They keep reoccurring.
Yes.
But we'll see if they raise dead.
And the players are that damn squirrel.
Scat. We'll see if they raise dead. Taliesin may realize it's a prepared spell because it's a domain spell.
Yep.
We were debating whether or not they have a 500 gold piece diamond because they need a 500 gold piece diamond. And we can't remember if they got a 500 and then a couple 300s when they were shopping in Nicodranus. So we'll see. I don't think they raise her even if they have the diamond. Because
I think they raise her if they get additional diamonds. Like if they loot extra diamonds, they may. I mean, it gets them paid, and they can replace the diamond.
We'll talk next week.
All right.
We'll see you guys next week.